everybody. It's August. Guess what August is? If you don't know, or you haven't followed me from the beginning, August makes 1 year that I've been doing this. I started Masterminds last August of last year. Went to James Shaw's Pivot Elevate conference, April in Indianapolis last year, and took home so much great things from his conference. And then they sat on my desk for a couple of months. And I'm like, I wonder how often this happens to people. They learn something cool and amazing, and then they never actually do it. And I'm like, and I wonder why we never actually do it. And sometimes it's a lack of time. Sometimes it's not right for our business. Most of the time is we get stuck in paralysis of what do I do first? Or how do I do that first step first? And so that's when supporting productivity was born. It was one of those of like, hey, I'm working with agents. I'm talking to agents, even working with my own team in June or July of last year. It's just like, who needs the next step? How do we do the how? And I'm an eldest daughter. I'm a civil engineer. I'm a high D direct personality. Immediately after D is C, computational analytical. I have no S, no I in my personality disc assessment. And I'm just like, if anybody was made for how, I feel like I'm made for how, because it's what I do for my team. So this was born. I started my first mastermind last August. We did take 1 month off just because life happens. So this is mastermind number 12, but it's also our business birthday month. So thank you guys for joining with me for the last year. If this is your first one, stick around for the next year. Year 2 is going to be even better, I promise. But this month is kind of a stop and a pause. Again, kind of ironic that I was late today because I've got too many irons in the fires. But it's going to be a stop and a pause and a kind of reflection of, am I doing what I want to be doing? And if I feel chaotic and I'm not doing what I want to be doing, I don't need to completely reinvent myself. This is not Britney Spears' moment where she shaves her head. This is a moment where we sit down and maybe we go with bangs, or maybe we put in a permanent, a semi-permanent dye color, or maybe we just get a trim. But a stop, a reset, a reflection, and ultimately, if anybody knows me on a personal level, I am all in on accountability. I feel it is so much easier to do what you need to do if somebody else knows that you're doing it and it has that friendly reach out and asks you, hey, how's that thing going? Because you're either going to be like, it's going great, or it's I need a little bit of help, or oh crap, I haven't even thought about doing that. Was it really something that I was all in and accountable to? And so that's what this is. This is a restart, not a reinvention. And of course, because I'm me, it's in a pretty Canva PDF. You're going to get all the resources and all the pieces to walk through it. So first and foremost, you guys, if you've been with me a while, or if you're brand new, you're going to learn real fast. These masterminds are interactive. I do not want to talk for the next 60 minutes straight. Nobody wants to listen to a college lecture from me. So I'm going to ask questions, and I am perfectly fine sitting here in the crickets when nobody says anything. Trust me, I've done that before. So are we in a moment of needing a quick restart, or are we in a moment of total from the ground up reinvention? Who wants to be brave and offer up an idea? It's going to be personal to each agent.
I'll join Ruth and say ground up.
Ground up. So you're going for the full reinvention. If you're going for a full reinvention, can I ask a follow-on? I'm not going to even ask permission to ask a follow-on. I'm asking a follow-on question. Is there any overwhelm or frustration of I've got to change everything now, or do you know exactly where you want to start?
Personally, I would say more of the overwhelm than that I know exactly where I want to start.
Okay. So if I hand you a piece of paper, and I'm literally going to send you a PDF, which is a piece of paper that helps you reflect and self-identify what you want to start with. And then, guys, it sounds completely campy and corny, but I love accountability. So I got a REBOOT acronym. I'm a military spouse. Everything's an acronym. So we have the REBOOT acronym, which is a bunch of reflection questions to kind of walk you through what's the one thing you want to commit to doing. Then we have the Recommitment Sheet. Guess what that is? That's a contract to yourself. Yes, there's a line on the bottom for you to sign it. What are you committing to? who's your accountability partner, what's your timeline, what's the step you're taking, and then you're going to sign and date it, because guess what makes it legally binding and more accountable? Contract. And then there's actually a tracker, because you know I love a good tracker, and this system works without a stitch of AI. You can do it digitally, or if you're like me, you can print it out on your printer. But then it's a tracker for the next 13 weeks, the next quarter, of how well you stuck to your recommitment and how well you checked in with your accountability partner to achieve that one thing you wanted to achieve. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my background, because I didn't feel like dealing with a slide presentation, because it gets a little wonky sometimes when you do a screen share with a slide. So I have it on my background. Does everybody see Reboot? I'm going to move over so you can read it. Does anybody want to tell me what R is?
Remove the weight.
Remove the weight. Does anybody want to think about what remove the weight means?
That all of the fat
Limiting
out of your
beliefs.
Nope. I got multiple answers. I think I had Amy and Dakota. Dakota, you want to go first?
Yeah, cutting out all of the fat from your systems, the unnecessary steps.
Okay. What do you think it is, Amy?
I said limiting beliefs.
That could be in the remove the weight. So who resonates with before you can speed up, you have to let go?
Figure out the unnecessary things.
Mm-hmm. So this could be old habits, outdated systems, overstuffed checklists, things that you have that you're like, I have to do it this way, that you don't actually do that way, or you don't actually open, or just causes you more frustration and more anger than it does actually anything productive. And so you're gonna get this all outlined with these questions on it. But just to kind of ask some of these questions, what recurring tasks or priorities no longer serve your business? What do you not need to be doing that you're just doing out of rote because it's what you've always done? What can you pause, delegate, or eliminate? And finally, what clutters your calendar? Because let's be honest, your calendar kind of shows where your priorities are. So what's cluttering your calendar that doesn't return your productivity? At least not to the level you want it to. And so I'm going to walk kind of through these, but essentially you're going to take this reboot framework. You're going to ask yourself these tough questions. You're going to journal, or whatever term you want to use that is basically journaling, answer these questions and help you decide what one thing is going to be your reset mark. But you got to start with what's not working, because why would we fix something we don't use? We want to fix something that is pivotal and foundational to how we do business. So who wants to read E? Oh, come on. It's right there on the screen. You just got to read what it says.
Examine the tracks.
Examine the tracks. What do we think that means? I'm stubborn. I will be quiet the whole time.
Look at
No
what's
guesses?
working and what's not working.
Can we get a little bit more literal?
Like, how did we get there and get out of it?
So strategy is a map, but your actions are the actual route you took. So what actions are you taking or not taking? What are you putting on your calendar? What are you ignoring? How do you define your true priorities? By what you're doing on a day in and day out basis. So a couple of reflection questions. And you guys can jump in and answer the reflection questions. I'm just reading what's off the sheet here, because all of this is kind of my brain dump. What trends do you see in how you're spending your time and your energy? What types of tasks dominate your calendar?
I'm like a busy worker. Like I can lose hours in Canva. Yeah.
So what kind of tasks? If you are a production agent, how much of your time do you do your 20% versus how much of your time do you do clerical and admin? Do you spend more time making sure you've done compliance than you do actually figuring out what the offer should look like? This is examining your tracks. How are your tasks? How are your pieces? What are you doing? Do you spend your whole time in meetings And are they not meetings with clients? Are they meetings with your team? Frankly, you guys should be selling stuff, not managing everything. So are the tasks and your time and energy aligned with your long-term goals? Or are they just busy work that gives you a dopamine hit when you check the box? Are we chasing the right now happy instead of the long-term happy? I told you I'd be coming with reflection and hard hitting in my first year. Guys, I asked myself all of this last month. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know how I'm going to celebrate my 1 year. I don't know where I'm going next year. And all of literally sat down. So my chat GPT for supporting productivity, her name is Charlie. I sat down with Charlie. I'm like, what am I doing? Am I going to do this for another year? Am I going to branch out to something new? How do I have time to do any of this? All of this is stuff that I've literally conversed back and forth with my business coach, with my team, with my inner group of, I've got a group of some fabulous ladies that help me in business. And this is what was birthed out of that. So I'm sharing it with you. So let's examine the tracks. Look at what we actually followed and did to get to where we are now. Is the track pointing in the direction we want it to be pointing in? Who wants to read B? Make sure my head's not in front of it.
Bring back the basics.
Who wants to guess what that means? Guys, I'm super literal. I'm a high D direct engineer. There is no dad jokes or puns or any literal. I'm super literal.
First things first.
Okay, so success often lies in the simple habits. Guess what? Most of the time we skip them. How confident are you in the simple basic things that you've been doing day in and day out so that you just don't even consider doing them anymore and you start on step 3? If we could all come out of the womb walking, how much would we have missed, or how frantic would our lives be? You got to go back to, okay, are we doing things the way we intentionally meant to do the things? The foundation of follow-up, relationships, and organization is instrumental. I always think of the 3 little pigs. Are we building with straw? Are we building with sticks? Or are we building with bricks? You can have a gorgeous mansion, but if you put it on the shrink swells, clay soils of the deep south, it's going to go like this the whole time. You got to get it set straight from the beginning. So a couple of questions. Which of your foundational practices have drifted? Which ones get left behind? Have you overcomplicated the systems in the name of progress? Who's the first person that when something gets overcomplicated, you just straight up don't do it? Guys, I designed the systems and I will still get to the point of I'm not doing that. That's too complicated. That's too many steps.
I've been
What
putting one off
base-
for a while now.
Who
That was Ruth. Sorry.
Oh, hi, Ruth. No, you're fine, Ruth. I'm just trying to figure out who's talking. Normally I can see the little thing.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but you wanted that, right?
Yeah, no, go for it. You can totally interrupt me.
I was just saying, yeah, I've got I need to do some mailers, and pulling out from I have to pull out the addresses because they're for rent by owners. So I have to find where they live address versus the rental home address. And it's complicated to me and time consuming to me. So I've had these letters printed out for a month. Anyway, there's my example.
Nope, I appreciate you sharing, Ruth. So what if you went back to the basics? What momentum would that provide you? Because, just a second ago, I was talking about the dopamine hit. We were chasing the right now happy. But if we went back to basics and we completed something and we knew it was up to our standard and we knew we had done it well, does that happy hit solve our immediate need to be happy? But does it also help our long-term progress and our long-term goals? Who likes to put out chaos dumpster fires every day, all day long? No. No. So why do you treat your action items and your to-do list as encapsulated? This is what I'm doing today, and this is all I'm doing today. There's no long-range projection thought. You've got to think about things as okay, if you eventually want to take a vacation, or if you eventually want to hire, or if you eventually want to have office hours or not work a day of your week, how are you setting up your right now business to live the business you want to live? So who wants to read the first O?
Organize with purpose.
Okay, anybody want to take a stab at what the heck I mean there?
Don't just put things in folders, whether digital or paper. Think about the long-term use of that item, or be intentional on where you would put it so that it will be logical to go back to.
Okay. So Patty got real literal, but I like to reverse to the word intentional. You know what, guys? Pretty does not mean it's productive. How many of us collect never-ending new things? I have a new class, I have a new form, I have a new contract, I have a new site, I have a new web page. Oh, I changed my headshots, now I have new business cards. Oh, I want to change up my email signature. Like, how do we just collect? And all of a sudden we're either physically hoarding papers and stacks and signs and stuff in the office, or we're digital hoarders. I'm a horrible digital hoarder. I'm a straight up Zennial, guys. Like, don't look at my Google Drive that is from my personal life. Like, it's a hot mess. But how much do we just collect stuff and we're not intentional about what we're collecting? We're not organizing what we need with a purpose. We're not keeping things that mean something to where we're going. We're not putting our most used items at our fingertips where it's easy to reach. If you had to reset your desk to be functional for your productivity, what's the first thing you would want to change on your desk? Like, literally, guys, the desk you're
clutter.
sitting at right now, what's the first thing you would change? Because there's got to be something on your desk that bugs the crap out of you.
Get rid of all the paper.
Mhm. So why is the paper bothering you, Jeannie?
Because it never goes away.
And what is the paper?
It's everything. It's like you get ready for, you do a market analysis, and then you have to go put stuff together to do showings, and then you want to get your newsletter out, and then you get a phone call, and then you got to call people, so you got the birthday list to call, and then you buzz out because you got to make your appointments, and you come back and it's a train wreck. So then you stack it all up so that you can get to a place to work, and then you start with what's kind of the most important thing, because I don't know how it got to the top, but it did, and you did, and then it starts all over again. Well, where is that pile now that I can call the birthdays? Like, yeah, no, I am the queen of dashing out, because we have to see people. That's what I can't make a living by standing here at
You still
my
have to do
desk.
the agent stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what we're trying to do is, if you're still doing all your agent stuff and you have limited bandwidth for one thing, what one thing does make sense to commit to? And yes, Jeannie has been trying real hard for what, a year now, Jeannie? We've been
Yes.
trying, we have not found the right match. So we are trying. She is open-minded to it. She just hasn't found the right match yet. So
It's
I'm
funny.
Working on it.
I am the admin of a person similar to you, and I have cleaned up my Rainmaker's life, and it just makes everything so much easier. But that partnership is so important, that friendship, that relationship. So I understand.
That's what I'm missing. I've run through 2 in the last year, literally, and it's starting over. That's why your question about at the beginning, restart or reinvent, is kind of both, because I'm not a good teacher, I think. I don't know. But it's hard to make the right person. Sometimes I guess third time's charm. So thank you.
Yep.
Where
need one
in
of
the
you. What?
Jeannie, where in the Chicago area are you?
I'm in the Arlington Heights office.
Okay.
And there is room for reinvention. I just don't want us to go nuclear, because that's just more stress and more stuff. If you're needing to reinvent, you can still use this framework. I just want you to take it in smaller chunks. We're not throwing everything out. We're identifying what's the one thing I'm changing, what's the one thing I'm fixing. We don't need to start from the ground up with everything. What you're doing has merit, has value. Just not everything has merit and has value. So organize with purpose. I'm going to run through these questions real quick. Where is disorganization costing you clarity? And the big one, confidence. How do you feel when you rush into an appointment because you're running late, or you don't have what you need, or you don't feel like you're prepared because you have so many irons in the fire? How is your business giving you a confidence boost or a confidence hit? Next question. What digital or physical clutter needs to go? So, and this kind of speaks to my soul. I print everything. I still like to have it in my hands, smell it, see it, write on it, like everything I print. Like I have literally this Reboot Framework is printed out on my desk right now. And I felt very, very challenged and very, very targeted when my business coach is like, why do you print everything? Because then it just sits on your desk. Like, do you ever go back and throw it away? Do you ever go back and like, it's like, do not tell me you own a filing cabinet. I do own a filing cabinet. But like, does it go in the filing cabinet? No, it just kind of sits here. She goes, okay, stop printing everything. Like if I have an aim to print 20% less than I currently print by the end of the quarter, because I like my paper, but I don't need the clutter. I don't need the disorganization. So what workspace, workflow, or folder structure could be simplified or even just created? Does it really need to have 17 subfolders and a naming convention and a number? Which, by the way, if you've ever taken my Google Site class, you know I will give you a folder structure, and it has all the pretty bells and whistles for organization and names. So much so that I know that folder 5 has to do with client services and events, because that's what folder 5 is supposed to be. But it doesn't have to be that. If it doesn't help you remember what's in that folder so that you can go find it when you need it, it's not serving you. Find a different way to do it. So who wants to read the second O? Oh, come on, somebody. Mandy, come off of mute and read that O for me.
Own the calendar.
What does that mean?
You should know your calendar front to back and review it very often. It is your lifeline.
If I said your calendar, little Lord, don't say that. If I said your calendar needs to have stronger boundaries than you do as a person, anybody else feel targeted or feel attacked? Because I'm coming for you. Who time blocks?
Semi.
Who feels like you don't know what you're doing if you're not time blocked? Who hates being time blocked? Because you can have that feeling even though you need to be time blocked. Some people don't like that whole structure thing. But
I don't like if someone else time blocks me.
What if we reframed the mindset? What if time blocking your calendar is protecting your mental health, your family time, and your peace? Would you time block for yourself?
Yes.
And why is time blocking important?
Because it takes away the decision. It clears away the decision. You know what 8 to 9 a.m. is supposed to be, or whatever time of day. You look at it and know it the day before, and so it reduces decision fatigue.
That for sure. I think it's a lot of decision fatigue. I'm a spouse, I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm also somebody else's entire business, how and everything like that. Decision fatigue is a lot. Would you be surprised if I told you that time blocking is the most entry-level way to show accountability? Because who are you being accountable when you time block? Yourself. But what does that bleed over into? If you're being accountable to yourself, who's getting the benefits of that accountability?
Everybody else that you're committed to within that time block.
Yeah. Your clients are
calendar.
getting a focused you. Your teammates are getting a focused you. Your family is getting a focused you and not somebody whose face is buried in their phone. All those stupid TikToks and memes about realtors on vacations walking off the end of docks because they're not paying attention. Yeah, Do you want to be that person? It's not a badge of honor. Promise, it's not. So time block. A functional business starts with protecting your time. But guess what? For those of you that don't like living in the structure imposed by others, you get to decide what protect your time looks like. Are you protecting it from yourself? Are you protecting it from other people? Are you protecting it for your personal life? Or are you protecting it for your business life? And are you doing it in 15-minute blocks or an hour a day? Or are you doing an 8-hour swath? You get to make all of those decisions. You get to be in control, but you've got to own your calendar. What time blocks or routines have fallen apart? What is on your calendar that has been on your calendar in that former version for so long that you know it's there, that you no longer do it because it doesn't pop up as being fresh on your calendar? Mandy looks like I just reached into her phone and like read her personal life.
Oh, it's so bad. Like we have regular stuff scheduled, and I don't know the last time we did it. Like it just gets ignored. And it's incredibly frustrating because I like to live by my blocks and my time, and knowing that somebody else that I'm working with is not living that way. Whew.
I just had this conversation with our market center. We've had a lot of turnover recently. We got a new team leader. We got a new front desk staff. We have a new MCA, and it's all been not all the same week, but literally in the last 6 months, all of these positions have been turned over and replaced. And they were asking for feedback from agents. How many of you asked for feedback on a listing of an agent that actually showed an agent or actually showed a house and they gave you something you can work with? Yeah. Now, ask a bunch of agents for feedback on how they interact with the market center. What do you think you're going to get? For kids, nothing at all. And I'm like, you're asking the wrong people. You've got to ask all of the admins and the operations people, because we can give you a whole list. I got all receipts on everything that needs to change. And one of the things I recommended is what our market center had been doing was we have team meeting every Tuesday at noon. Or every other Tuesday at noon. I don't even know how many Tuesdays a month, because it's just always been this way. And they send out a calendar invite, and then they set it on recurring because it's easy. And then they send it out, and so they invite you to the team meeting for the next 15 to 18 months. Same time, same place, same description, same thing. And you say, yes, I'm going, add it to my calendar in perpetuity. And then how many of you actually pay attention to the fact that you have to do that? How many of you go in and change your status from busy to not busy so that you can book something else on top of it? Yeah. And so I told them, it's like, hey, just try for the next 3 to 6 months of sending just that week's meeting as just a standalone calendar invite, and put what the heck you're talking about that meeting in the description. And see if that freshness and that change of pace and that change in eyes gets people to actually remember that that's something they could be doing. Or that's something. So how many people don't go to team meetings because they don't feel like it's offering anything that's worthwhile to them? But how many of you know what they're actually offering that week more than 24 hours before? So again, it's shifting your mindset, changing your perspective, owning your calendar, but not owning it in such routine that you're ignoring your calendar. So then who wants to help me out with, I'm going the wrong direction. My poor analytical brain cannot handle things in mirrors. And I can't do anything where it's like left in mirrors, right. My brain doesn't get it. So who can read the T?
Track one metric.
What do we think that is?
Focus on one thing.
Mm-hmm. How many of you guys do a seller's report and you have to pull information from 17 different places to compile this really detailed report to have a conversation that basically says, hey, your house isn't selling, or your house got this much, but you have to do all of that to find all of those metrics to prove one point? How many of you, your clients probably wouldn't appreciate it, but how many of you could boil that report down to one metric? You could pull one piece of data and it would tell you the exact same thing all 17 pieces of data say. So How many of you as real estate agents don't like tracking, like when you're tracking your goals are big, you're kind of abstract, it's vague language. And when somebody asks you, but what's the number value to that? Or how do you know you won? Do you have a number for how you know you won? Because at the end of the day, it's not a SMART goal, which is also another acronym, if it's not measurable. And if it's not measurable with a simple metric, how likely are you to do it? And this is all about the do. You know, I'm in here. It's like, we're going to do something. All of you are going to, hopefully, if you like me any at all a little bit, do this in the next week. But if you don't do it, then what's the point of you sitting here and giving me an hour of your time? Frankly, that's just more collecting digital noise, collecting another PDF, another workbook, another shiny new thing that we're never going to do. But look at all these classes I attended. Are you ever going to get a degree? Sorry, now I'm getting on my soapbox. I'm coming for some of y'all. But on the Trackometric, you don't need a dashboard full of KPIs. Does everybody know what a KPI is? I'm talking a lot of acronyms. So key performance indicators. Those are all the things you can measure. Just pick one that makes it easy for you to know whether or not you're on track, you're slightly struggling, or you haven't even started. And that's what your metric should be looking like. There's one number that tells you whether or not you're doing the work. So if you could track something weekly that would measure effort, not the outcome, but the effort, what would you track? Is anybody currently tracking effort on a weekly basis?
Appointments set, appointments held.
That's a metric of the conversion effort of your Rainmaker, correct, Dakota?
Correct.
Okay. So then who is tracking effort as far as, does anybody track your transaction units or volume or GCI compared to your goals? Yep. So how do you spin that to track something that helps you in your operational space, in your business space? Yes, it would be great to be able to know you're on track for your GCI goal. What the money you're being paid that you're taking home. But how are we tracking the effort that helps you convert or helps you book appointments or helps you have conversations? Like what are you doing to earn that compensation check? Because if we're putting money in the bank, we're obviously doing something right. How do we do more of that and less of what's not getting us paid? So a couple of questions on this one. Calls made, combos had, follow-ups sent, strategy sessions booked. These are all metrics you can track that are based on your lead gen efforts for your clients. But if you choose your one simple step that isn't so much of I want to close X amount of transactions or I want to book X amount of meetings, this is something more operational space, your metric may look slightly different. But focus on one. And if you're in that lead gen client space, focus on something that falls in the conversion timeline. Something that shows you that you're moving the conversion forward along the pipeline. Anybody want to volunteer what would be a motivating metric right now? Something that you want to measure or something that if you saw that number trending positive, it doesn't necessarily mean the number is positive or that it's going up, but it's going in the positive trend direction would motivate you to do more of that item, more of that task. No, nobody wants to be vulnerable.
Oh, I think it's conversations and meeting with people. Like I found I've spent too much time in my own office. Even on the phone, you can make a few phone calls, but you know, I need to network. So I have a lot of referral business. I mean, that's where a lot of my business comes from, but I need to nurture more of those within my database and develop new ones. So I have to get away from my desk.
So Jeannie, is the metric the number of conversations you had, or would a metric that reveals more information be how many minutes you're not sitting in your chair?
That's an interesting way to look at it, because that's what I got to do is get my behind out of here.
So is it one of those like, I was in Legion for 3 hours today. Well, great. Was that 3 hours on your computer pushing paperwork, sending emails, or was that 3 hours on the phone and conversations, or was that 3 hours out and about having conversations in the grocery store and the coffee shop? Which one of those? It's still the same, 180 minutes. Good Lord, I'm good at math. I promise. But like,
Just
what makes that 180 minutes productive? If that's your goal, then what are we measuring of being a positive or productive version of that 180 minutes? And how does that spur you that little bit further forward?
like if I'm with someone, you can make a connection. But if you're even on the phone, even if you know somebody, I think it's harder. But I think your sincerity, your body language, and I think you can also read the other person better so that you can tailor your conversation to not be pushy or to not be salesy or anything like that, but to let them know that you're there and that you want to help, and knowing that most people don't need us, but to keep that relationship solid so that they trust us as the resource for anybody else they might know, or introduce you to somebody new, you know what I mean? That those kind of things, to be a connector. So I think that's harder to do over the phone.
Mm-hmm. But having a phone conversation is better than leaving a voicemail.
True.
Calling
True,
them
true, true.
sometimes is better than sending them an email. So it's how does your business run? What is the thing that we're trying to improve? What's the metric we can measure? My brain, when you started talking about that, my brain immediately went to, oh, wouldn't that be a really cool case study of I'm going to call these 10 people, or I'm going to interact with these 10 people and start jotting down how many times you were on the phone with them, how many times you saw them in person, how many minutes you spent in an appointment. And then when they converted at the end or didn't convert at the end, adding up how much time you spent in relationship with them, truly in conversation relationship with them, and see if there's any trend line or metric. But that's my math brain going all sorts of crazy, because I'm pretty sure the more you spend in relationship and direct conversation with people, the more likely they are to bring you some form of business. And so how do you increase that slide scale, that trend? So that's the reboot method. Everybody like my reboot method?
How do those of us that are very squirrel heavy, like, because I've had that as similar goals, like to understand like my costs per sale, like basically on how many hours it takes me to do the different functions that I do, say for a buyer, like how many times we go out, how many, all that kind of stuff. And I'll do it like a couple times, then I'll figure out like, well, I never really didn't document that. I didn't document this. How do you get the squirrel to document consistently? How do I make it easier to, because I think that would be a worthy thing to see what's working. I mean, so
does Mandy want to chime in, or does Mandy live in the same realm?
I live in the same realm with an agent that is a squirrel moment agent, and we love him. But so what I do is, and what I would always suggest is, you said you're trying to hire, so that would be my very first thing, is his squirrel things, like documenting, like keeping track of things that he just does not want or feel like he can focus on. Those are my tasks. That's what I become focused on. And so that's helped him spend more time lead genning and spend more time doing those personal things that you've kind of talked about, where he's on the phone, he gets to go to coffees and agent things. And I'm behind the scenes tracking, implementing, putting everything where it needs to be. And that way, when he opens up his pending board, for example, everything's right there. He doesn't have to think about it. And that's really helped him. It sounds like kind of what you're maybe gonna be looking for too. So
yeah.
So I have a high eye out there conversationalist. Jeannie knows my Rainmaker. She's in our conversation script practice. She knows Tulio. And he has squirrel moments. Not so much squirrel moments, is he will find something that it's the new big thing, or there's a way to do it, or like this kind of listening, and he is constantly in education mode. If I could pry the podcasts out of his car, it's like all his windshield time is podcasts. And so he's like, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Why do you want to do this? And then we normally talk through of, is that a feasible thing right now? Is that a good investment right now? But a lot of that pairs back to the admin. What I have found was the easiest place to start is not make you overcomplicated the system, Jeannie. At the end of the day, how many people did you talk to this year? How many people, we are total drunk beer mathing this. Roughly, how many people did you talk to? How many appointments did you go on? How many showings did you drive out to? And if you need to just like literally keep a check tally mark on a clipboard for showings, or if you need to drop them in your calendar, then go back and count them up. So how many people did we talk to this year across the board? How many times was I on there? How many minutes or hours was I on the phone? How many times did I show houses? Or how many times did I have to go put a sign in the yard for a listing? How many of those closed? And literally those big boulders will give you a conversion ratio. Is it the most accurate conversion ratio? No. But is it better than saying, I'm converting at 4% when you're really converting at 0.5%? Yes. And then when you dial in, again, it's taking the wide aperture lens and narrowing it. When you use the big boulders and you figure it out and you're like, okay, this is the part of the pipeline, or this is the part of the system, or this is the part of the workflow that just doesn't work, or works way too slow, or I need to improve. This is where I'm going to start. Then you start making the small changes in that start. And my best friend is ADHD. I call her a golden retriever. I love her to death. I'm a shark. I don't care who's bleeding by the time we get there. We're just going to get it all done. We're all going to feed together. And it's like, okay, cool. It's like, I'm single-minded and single task. She's the golden retriever. Is everybody having fun? Is everybody excited? Oh, look, there's a bone. Oh, look, there's a squirrel. Oh, it's another dog. And so like, I have to do this a lot with her. She owns a business. And I'm like, you're trying to do 17 different things. You're doing all of them poorly. Let's pick one thing. Guess what, Jeannie? You gave me a perfect segue, because we're going through the reboot to kind of analyze where in our business we're not happy. The very next thing is the recommitment sheet. The very first thing on the recommitment sheet is, what one thing am I wanting to fix? And it can't be too big. If it's too big, you're eating the whole elephant in one bite. I want something that fits on a dining room table. What's the one thing you want to change? So is it, I want to be out of my desk more and out talking to people, or I want to increase my appointments by a certain number per month, or a certain percentage overall, or I want to go from being 50% buyers to being 55%, or sorry, that's the wrong direction, 50% buyers to 45% buyers, or I want to pick up an extra listing. And then what needs to happen to achieve that one thing? And this is where we get really embroidered in the how. And a lot of agents don't like this part. And it's not because you're not good at it. It's the part where we make you sit down, not move, not think, get into the how, do the stuff that isn't selling the pretty houses. If you don't feel comfortable, or you feel frustrated doing this part of doing the recommitment sheet, treat it like a counter offer or a negotiation. You're just negotiating with yourself. What are you willing to commit to? What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to achieve? And then that recommitment sheet builds in that accountability. Because what it says is, what's the one small step? What's the one thing I want to change? What is my one first small action step? And by what date am I going to get that accomplished? You have to go find an accountability buddy. I'm making you find an accountability buddy. You can't account inside your own vacuum. You are your worst accountability partner, I promise. It's like saying, hey, we're not eating ice cream. And then at midnight when you're hungry and it's in the freezer, you're like, yeah, we're going to get some ice cream. Nobody will know. Yeah, you have to have an outside accountability buddy. And then guess what? Coming back to the own the calendar and examining the tracks, you're going to set up a meetup with that accountability buddy. You're going to put it on the calendar. You're going to determine the how, the who, and the frequency, and then you're going to do it. Because you know why you're going to do it? That third page of the tracker. How painful is it to write down on the tracker, I did absolutely nothing this week? Who wants to write that down? No, we want to celebrate the wins. But guess what makes that part easier if you have to write down that I did nothing this week and account it to somebody? Is there's a section in there of what was a win, and if you didn't have a win, what was the setback? Identifying why you didn't. Nobody sees this sheet but you, but writing it down and putting it out into the universe, even if nobody else sees it, brings awareness to your mind. What was the setback? And then guess what? You reach out to your communities, you reach out to your market centers, you reach out to your mentor agents, you reach out to your admins, your operation personnel, your agents. or your accountability buddy. That's why they're there. And say, hey, I had this setback. I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve because I had this setback. Help me figure out how to get over the setback. Heck, you could go into ChatGPT and said, I had this setback. I'm trying to do this thing. What can I do differently this week? And it's for 13 weeks. 13 weeks doesn't sound like much. It's a quarter, it's a month, 90 days, 91 days technically. And each week is a fresh slate, but you can start to see the weeks build on each other, or you can start to see the weeks where you slide back and you're like, okay, I need to recommit. You go back to that signed recommit document. Why am I doing this in the first place? And then you go back to doing the restart. And what theoretically should be happening, what should psychology is not the right word, but what's happening in your brain is you've made a commitment. You're trying to achieve the commitment. You've broken it down into manageable pieces. And now you're learning how your coping mechanisms show up, because everybody has crap they're dealing with. Everybody has something that keeps them from doing what they want to do, but you're all motivated to achieve what you want to achieve. So it helps you identify your coping mechanisms. It helps you identify what the heck distracts the crap out of you. When you, maybe you shouldn't be doing this at 8 o'clock in the morning. Maybe you should be working out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I love your Rainmaker immensely, Dakota, but I know not to give him a project after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because nothing will happen. He is best at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so
30 in the morning, like so early.
my 6 o'clock, so I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's what I get to interact with him, is in the hour of his life where he's at his absolute best. And so finding that out about yourself, finding out about self-awareness, being able to bring that into community spaces with other agents and other admins, being able to know that and either develop coping mechanisms, hire somebody to do the stuff you don't want to do, or to help you with your coping mechanisms, or to be able to herd you off at the pass, or even to backfill you when you're like, I really need to get this done and I don't have the bandwidth. It's like, and that doesn't have to be a hire that sits next to you in the desk. That could literally just be another agent, or be another person, or be your spouse, or be your best friend. They don't even have to be in real estate. But this is where community comes into play. But if you don't know it about yourself, you can't ask your community for help. And the greatest superpower, I'm going to channel my inner James Shaw, your greatest superpower is asking for help. So, and I managed to do that with 5 minutes left to go. So, any questions, any ahas, any additions, anything anybody wants to offer up? So I'm going to challenge y'all. There's a recommitment sheet, and it was totally invented to be your personal, on your desk, on your desktop, in your life. But share it with your accountability partner. And if you don't have an accountability partner, find me. I have plenty of time to be accountability partners. I need them too. So it's like, I can be mean about whatever you want. Loving, care, and candor. I'm never mean. And I give you carte blanche to be mean back to me, because there's stuff that I need to be accountable for as well. But start using it. If you need to share it with somebody, I'm open to share it with. But ideally, I'd like you to walk through the reboot. I'd like you to fill out the recommitment sheet. Even if you can't bring yourself to sign it this week, think about it real hard. Get that signed, make a commitment to yourself sometime in the next 10 days. So that's the first step. That's the first do. So with that, I am going to let y'all know that, so this is my birthday month, and I've launched some new things. Got a lot more blogs going. I've got a newsletter that's going out next week. There's more stuff on the website. And then I just launched a business page on Facebook for supporting productivity, so that there is some more visibility. And once I get to a certain level of followers, I'll be able to do live videos and snippets and short stuff on that. So check me out in all the places. But, full vulnerable disclosure moment, I was going to do a huge birthday bash giveaway this month. And then we're the 21st of August, and I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen. So we are doing a birthday bash giveaway in September, which basically launches on Monday, so the end of August. And it's all my favorite things. No, I'm not giving you a subscription to Microsoft Excel. These are usable things. I promise I'm not giving you software or homework. But they're things that I absolutely love. So I have drink cups all over the place. And so I've got a couple of my favorite drink cups, a couple of my favorite office products, a couple of other things, but it's all fun stuff. To enter, you can enter multiple times, but to enter, it's going to require engagement. It's going to require you to actually talk to me and not just be a lurker that follows along in the background. So be paying attention for that to come out. Some information will be dropping. As always, you guys who are here in person today, even if it was just for part of the show, will get your Big R email. I love my Big R email. Acronyms, guys. Everything's an acronym around here. But the Big R email will drop. I'm aiming for Friday or Saturday, but as always, no later than Monday. And then everybody who wants the replay will get it a little bit later than that. And then the newsletter goes out next week. And shameless plug. Not shameless. That's the wrong use of that term. I'm self-promoting myself at the moment because this is my show. I just dropped a blog on Tuesday about why I am super confident that AI is not going to replace me in real estate. And guys, it's not going to replace agents. There's so much agents have to do in a human aspect. But for those of you that are operations personnel, sometimes that fear is really real because it's coming for workflows and workspaces and doing what you do on a daily basis faster. But I promise you're not going anywhere. But yeah, the blog is about how admins and VAs and assistants can work with AI and not have AI take over their stuff. That human component and the brain waves that you bring to how real estate runs are still going to be foundational to getting anything. As my husband always says, crap in, crap out. So be gold and put the gold in and get the gold out. So you can check that out. Anything else other than that? Any last minute questions or anything like that?
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. And just so you guys know, share me with everybody. There's got to be somebody in your life that needs to know about me. And you can forward literally just about any email I've ever sent you, or my website, or my blog, or my Facebook, or anything like that with anybody. But share me around. Heather's not on the call anymore, but Heather shared me with Christine a couple of weeks ago, and we were able to get some answers for Christine and some coaching and stuff done. So I am here if you need me. You know,
Thank
you can
you.
tell I
Thank
talk to
you.
Dakota all the time. Dakota's smiling, but she knows. It's like we have lots of things. I texted with Mandy. Happy belated birthday, Mandy. But I texted with her the other day about operation stuff. So okay.
Thank you.
I will let you go. You guys have a great afternoon, and I'll see you next month.
Thanks, Jessica.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.